Welcome back to the Sip and Swish Podcast. Here with Nick Reed and Lucas McLean, I'm Jason Stoltz. We got a few beers in front of us, and we're ready to talk some basketball. So thanks for joining us once again. We're going to start off with the first quarter, where we talk about the best and worst from last week. This week we've got the Celtics, who were definitely swishing over the last week. Beat the Nets, Rockets, and Hornets. Rockets probably the most interesting game, well, certainly of that stretch, but one of the most interesting of the entire year with that amazing 26-point comeback.
That was just, I didn't get to watch the game, but watching the highlights and then watching Harden's meltdown, just everything he did, I just didn't understand. He got caught doing everything red-handed.
It was the last 30 seconds. It was the last 30 seconds. 2 fouls that were so egregious. I think the first one, Smart really sold it on. But that second foul was like, purely he messed up. And I think that's just been his last 2 weeks, is everybody's turning on Harden. All of his shenanigans are going down.
I haven't been on the Harden bandwagon in a while. But even before I believe it was before those 2 fouls, he just walks up, they're running the play. 14 seconds left. Instead of trying to make a play, he just takes this 37-foot shot and just hits the rim. Yeah. And it's like, you're trying to win this game. Now, if you made the shot, everyone would be like, oh my God, you're so good. But
yeah,
they're having a rough couple of weeks.
It was eerily reminiscent of him on a big stage, like last year's playoffs or the finals with the Thunder. He just seems to have that natural inclination to implode, for a nationally televised game or, just one against a team the caliber of the Celtics with all the eyes on him.
He has that, ego to him, though. All 3 quarters, he has this, he's the big man walking through the whole game, and then the fourth quarter comes in almost every big game he plays, and he just shrivels into a player where almost at the very end I was like, please don't give Harden the ball. Do some sort of play. I don't know, Twitch Ariza in the corner. Just start jacking threes with anybody but Harden at that point.
So what have the Celtics been doing so right over the last week? And obviously over the entire season. They've been a great team. But yeah, 3-game win streak. I mean, what are you guys seeing? What do you like? What's going on?
I think the real MVP on the Celtics is a little man named Terry Rozier. Okay, my good friend Chuck loves this man for way too long, but he's only playing 23 minutes a game, and he's averaging 14, 5, and 3, while shooting almost 60% from the field and 50% from 3. It's just perfect, and they've been on this streak without Jaylen Brown, so everybody's stepping up because Jaylen Brown's now huge.
Yeah, who I really like. I think Jaylen Brown's a great player.
I didn't believe in him much, and then Harden went down, and now Jaylen Brown's like this perfect replacement player.
I think the Celtics have been drafting so insanely smart for this roster that I think they knew they were going to build. Like, they knew Gordon was going to come. They really hoped they were going to get, another star point guard. And I think they were like, all right, we're just going to pad this with nice young defenders who can also hit the 3-shot.
Yeah, they drafted wings that can do a little bit of everything, but nothing great. And It's really working for them. From Smart, he can play great defense, but he really can't do much on offense, but he can do just enough. Same with Jaylen Brown. Tatum's really good on offense, and I guess he's good on defense too, but they're not elite at everything, but it just builds a solid core.
So Marcus Smart, do you guys think that every team competing for a championship needs a Marcus Smart type player? Because it occurs to me that it's not maybe every time, but that a lot of high caliber teams, you need that overachiever. That whether or not they're actually little, you need someone with that little man complex who's just gonna scrap and fight, and he's not your most talented player, but in those crunch time minutes, he's gonna come through for you.
That's Andre Iguodala. I think that's why he won that Finals MVP.
Great call.
He's just a rat out there, and he just stopped LeBron, and that was just it. That was his one job, and he did it, and it wasn't pretty, but he held LeBron to. It didn't look like LeBron after that.
No, yeah, every championship caliber team needs a hype man, pretty much. This guy is just
a hype man. I love that.
Pretty much like he's gonna go out there like he's gonna make you want to play. And Marcus Smart, like, I think he's scary enough to make the other players want to play.
Yeah. So also swishing this past week, Steph Curry. They lost to the Hornets without him. Not to say that Golden State played poorly in his absence. They had a perfectly fine record. But I thought that really set the stage for the next night. The return of Curry versus Memphis. Lights it up. Catches fire. 10 threes. I mean, you guys know all the stats. Just amazing return to action. What do you think?
I mean, I think a couple days before he was doing his like 103 shoot-arounds where he just takes 100 straight three-pointers in a row, see how many he can make in a row. His personal best is 96 out of 100. He did 94 out of 100.
That's ridiculous.
So, I mean...
That's just so wrong.
Kevin Durant may be the best talented player, but Steph Curry is the most valuable player for that team.
I think so. He's way more important. Like just watching that game again, you almost forget how important Curry was. And a few people say this, but he has his own like gravitational pull. Curry does on offense. Like it was the end of the second quarter. There was 5 minutes left, and as soon as Curry dribbled past half court, he was double teamed, and then he went to the like 30-foot line, and he was triple teamed. There were 3 people guarding Curry, not even close to the 3-point line, like 7 feet out, and then it's just Zaza standing underneath the hoop, like I'm wide open. Curry just lobs it, and everyone's like, "Oh, that was crazy!" And I was like, "Well, 3 people were on just Curry." You know, I think he's the only player that a team has to guard 30 feet out, or else I can't think of, not even LeBron. Like you don't want to. There'd be no purpose to doing that. But to Curry, you have to guard him like 30 feet out with 2 people.
He's arguably the best shooter the game's ever seen.
Yeah, I think he just is.
It's just
I don't know if that's
Stripping away the arguably.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
No more arguably. It's just him.
He, as a big Steve Nash fan, that really hurt Lucas's soul. Threw in the arguably there just to make him kind of have to
No.
say definitely.
He looks a little dejected.
Oh, for sure.
So sipping this week, Cleveland Cavaliers really kind of no-showed. They only had 2 games in the last sip and swish week. They were both losses to the Jazz and Kings. This is also coming off of the Christmas Day loss against the Warriors. Can't blame Bron. What's going on?
I think I do have to say one thing about LeBron. His 3 shot is starting to cool off a little bit.
Yeah, he's shooting 18% right now in the last 3 games.
It's a little colder.
Check what I said. Maybe blame Bron a little.
Other than that,
You guys dug deep.
not the worst. He's basically averaging a triple-double. He's still LeBron.
No, yeah. He's still my front runner for MVP this year.
Yep. That Kings game was really bad though. The bench of the Kings torched the Cavs. Vince Carter, 40 years old, Willie Clancy-Stein, and Bogdan Bogdanovic dropped 57 points on the Cavs bench. That's way too many points for those 3 guys to drop.
Wow, that's mind-boggling. I just don't understand how they let these things happen. Like, I get it's the Kings and they're not
Kings
great.
won by 14. Like, that's almost blowout. Isn't it like 20 points, like a blowout? Is 15 points a blowout?
It almost depends how long the lead was at that differential for. If kind of towards the end it expands and you hit 15 points, maybe not a blowout. If you kind of came into the fourth quarter with a 15-point lead and never relinquished, blowout.
Kind of a blowout, yeah.
Straight up blowout. So are they... It feels like every year this happens with LeBron teams. You know, they get super hot, they look amazing, they lose 3 straight, 4 straight, 5 straight. You question them, you know, all the talking heads do. Like, is this the year the Cavs don't make it? I'm not worried. Are either of you worried?
I haven't been worried. I was slightly worried in the beginning until I just realized LeBron James is on this team. And it doesn't matter how old he is. Like, he's got that Kobe mentality where he'll play every minute to win every single game that is physically possible for him.
I don't think with this roster they can win the championship.
No.
I just don't think they can. Like, the last game against the Jazz, Korver, Calderon, Crowder, and J.R. Smith had a combined offensive rating of 53. 53 points per 100 possessions is terrible. The average is 100. Like, this is very bad. If your best shooting guard is Kyle Korver, 36 years old, you're just going to have a bad day. And Crowder was so overrated. J.R. Smith was a terrible overpay. Iman Shumpert was a terrible overpay. Tristan Thompson is a terrible overpay. I don't know who does anything else. I mean, I guess unless Isaiah Thomas comes back, and
yeah, they're missing their second best player.
Their starting point guard is Jose Calderon. So
Jose, veteran leadership calling to you.
We know what this pod thinks of veteran leadership.
It's overrated.
Yes, super, super overrated. So we've been playing around with some different formats for our second quarter. Haven't found the perfect fit yet, but this might be it. So we're shooting to either do an interview during our second quarter moving forward, which, stay tuned, I believe next week we will have our first interview on the Sip and Swish podcast.
I'm excited.
Quiet down, stop your clapping, listen. This week, and when we don't have an interview, we're doing something called Garbage Time, where we kind of will all choose one topic to go off on, and it might be in a positive way, it might be in a slightly less positive way. I'm looking at Nick. But Lucas, why don't you start us off?
All right. LeBron. Is this the best LeBron ever? I kind of think it might be. Just because it's his hardest challenge yet. Okay? His supporting cast is so bad, and he's still averaging 28, 8, and 9. Career highs, field goal percentage, assists, and free throw percentage, which his free throws were terrible to start the year, but he's back. But just his supporting cast doesn't exist, so it's just LeBron's team. There's no D Rose, he ran away again. Jose Calderon's way too old, and I forgot he was a person. And IT just came back, so right now, a third of the way in the season, he just got a point guard, who may or may not be 100%. Shooting guards, they have 4. JR, Iman, Korver, and D-Wade, and they're all terrible. Okay, Korver might be the best one. but they're all just terrible. Small forwards, they have Jay Crowder, who was the most overrated NBA player last year by far.
Come to find out.
But Jeff Green is a good backup. For whatever reason, he's a solid backup. He's only playing like 19 minutes and he's scoring 12 a game.
Who would have thought?
I don't know. But they have no big men. There's only 2 big men on their roster, and it's Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love. I tried to search for it. Even some guys I try to just pick up. They don't exist. The only 2 big men they have are Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, and Tristan Thompson isn't in the rotation anymore. He's only played 16 games this season. So it's Kevin Love and LeBron are the 2 big guys. K-Love's been doing well.
He is
But
doing well.
so it's, I think, the best LeBron ever, carrying a bunch of terribly old men to the third seed in the East. And that's my rant. This is the best LeBron has had to perform ever.
Who would have thought 8 years later, 9 years later, LeBron would be in the same scenario as he was in Cleveland, carrying a bunch of really bad players to an NBA championship.
Except they're just like an average age of probably 6 years older than that team.
Yeah.
You don't have Anderson, weird sideshow Bob Varejao, running the court with you. You've got people in wheelchairs just trying to keep up. I wanted to talk about the return of Isaiah Thomas. I found him to be probably the second best player to watch last year behind Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, it was fun.
I really am not a Celtics fan at all. I'm a Philly sports guy. Boston does not do it for me. But I watched a ton of Celtics games last year. because of Isaiah Thomas. And obviously as the year went on and kind of like the legend of IT kind of started to grow with his fourth quarters and everything else, it was really, really exciting. Again, second only to my main man, Russell Westbrook. But I'll talk about him another time. Tonight is all about my sweet little 5'9" Isaiah Thomas.
That's so insane.
He averaged 28.9 points per game last year. He came back tonight against Portland. Had a pretty good showing. I believe finished with 17, 19 points, somewhere in there. I know he shot 50%. He says he needs to get the feel of the game back. You know, that just being away for this long, you know, physically and even like cardio-wise, he's okay. Mm-hmm. But just to get the feel, especially with new teammates, he's going to be on a minutes restriction. There's no back-to-backs for him. But I think he gives the Cavs a puncher's chance against Golden State. I really do. If he can be the IT that he was last year, with the friggin' heart of a lion, maybe the Cavs can do it. And if I'm ever going to be rooting for the Cavs to win the chip, it's this year because of my main man, Isaiah Thomas. He's back for the first time since the conference finals last year. And this might be LeBron's last hurrah. This could be it for him in the land. You combine that motivation with IT just wanting to say something I want to say, but I shouldn't for the kids, to the Celtics. He really wants to raise a certain finger. I think they've got a chance, and I'm thrilled to have him back in the association.
I'm excited. What do you think about him not wanting a video tribute from the Celtics?
I don't know if he was upset. I can't tell. He says he wasn't upset about it because he understands it. But like all NBA players are like, oh, it's a business. I understand, but I feel like he would be upset. Like he carried them, and then they just shipped him off for some guy who, at the time, like if you put them both in a capsule, yeah.
I was thinking of
capsule, bubble, escape pod,
something. Isaiah probably played better than Kyrie last year. You know,
I didn't believe in the Isaiah hype, and I was like, oh, he's just having to put up points. But then like watching him play, watching him score is probably one of the coolest things in the league. Where he goes straight into a guy who's 7 foot, just puts his arm in, and just like kind of like
has 100 pounds on him.
Yeah, if not more, and just throws the ball up over his head, and he's like, "That's going in."
He'll create contact with the ball being held like a running back holding a football, and then make the shot.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely think he was hurt by Danny Ainge. He was hurt by the Celtics. What he went through to come back and play, it's incredible and it's sorrowful, and I think he's on a mission. And sign me up, IT. I'm the friggin' #1 fan. I'm riding this thing out with you, brother.
Alrighty, so this week in Garbage Time, I picked my favorite shooting guard in the league. Mr. James Harden.
Oh, God.
You know, I was starting to buy into the Rockets, and then James Harden goes ahead and plays against the Celtics. We already talked about it. He fell apart. He does what James Harden does. Falls apart in games when he needs to win. I think now that he's out for 2 weeks, his MVP race is over. There's no way he's getting it now.
It's over?
Yeah. 2 weeks minimum.
Oh.
Mike D'Antoni said it was up from 2 weeks to maybe a month now.
Dude, all sports hate when you miss time. My boy Carson Wentz for the Eagles missed the last 3 weeks of the season. He went from being the #1 MVP candidate to out. Sorry, I'm making it about Philly. Please continue.
It's okay. But, I mean, we're not even halfway through the season. I was saying he could miss maybe 2 weeks towards the end. But they're starting to slide. Harden's hurt. Chris Paul keeps getting hurt. And these performances and games matter for an MVP vote. Where he's just... Even the games against the Lakers, The Clippers, 51. Like, okay, you're killing it. How are you losing to these teams? I'm a Lakers fan. They're trash right now. I don't understand because they're like, all right, we're putting points up. But then it's like, you look at them and you're like, holy crap, you guys are terrible. What is going on? And the Rockets have this.
Here first, Lakers fans. One of your own.
We're trash right now. But the Rockets right now, this is the problem that I feared of in the playoffs, and it's already showing mid-season. We're not even into mid-season, but it's right there. This sort of scenario happens at the end. It ain't coming. There you
No.
The Golden State Warriors are not going to let you take that trophy for them.
Right, it's like a two-pronged potential of failure in the sense of you could have Harden just go full-on like hero ball. Make it 3 prongs. Harden goes hero ball, Harden implodes, or the 3-point shooting team that is the Rockets can't shoot for a night, can't shoot for a couple of nights.
Yep.
How about this stat? James Harden has scored 319 points from the free throw line. 40% more than the next player in the league.
That's an astounding statistic.
It's like the opposite of when a defender gets a bad rap. Now he has like a good rep among referees, like, oh, that must have been a foul. Like, he's very good at drawing fouls. So that was like a professional foul drawn. Instead of like, I don't know, someone like Marcus Smart will attack someone and they'll call a foul on him because of his reputation. It's just.
So between James Harden and Giannis, Giannis has 226 points.
Wow, the yin and the yang of your basketball love.
The space between those in points is the same as Giannis and the 24th player on the list.
That's gross.
That's
incredibly gross.
Love Manu Ginobili, and that's his style of play, is drawing the fouls, going in there, kind of like Harden. But Harden does that at such a high volume that it just makes me angry. I just don't like the style of play. It makes me mad. I hate you, James Harden.
Who sent the link, real quick, who sent the link to the video earlier today?
Oh, that was Lucas.
The top 10 plays
The top
or something.
10
The
plays
top 10 Harden plays.
Can you tell the fans of the Sip and Swish about this video?
It was pretty great. I was expecting a highlight reel of James Harden plays, but it ended up being one free throw after another.
It was fantastic. I'm sitting at work, and I get, on our Sip and Swish pod group text, Lucas sends a video, top 10 James Harden plays of the year. I was like, cool, I'd love to check that out. I click on it. First one's a free throw. I'm like, all right. Like, that's hilarious. But I'm kind of stoked to see what they've got. Every single one of them, a free throw.
One of them, he was just actually sitting on the bench, and one of his teammates was taking a free throw. That was my favorite one. I liked how it was like ESPN top 10 format, too. It was like completely top 10.
It looked legit. I was ready for it. I was ready to be like, okay, this is going to make me feel bad about trashing him later on tonight. But then I was like, nope, this makes me feel a lot better. I'm excited.
Let's jump into the third quarter. It's a fan favorite. It's the Lucas list.
All right, so for the Lucas list, we're going to do the top 5 sleepers for the All-Star team. Number 5 is Eric Bledsoe. Just got traded to the Bucks, and he's slept upon again because now he's on the Bucks, and you don't hear too much about the Bucks unless Giannis is doing an insane dunk or murdering someone else on the court because he's a freak. But he's been the biggest help to that Bucks team. Before trading for Bledsoe, the Bucks were 4-10. After the trade, the Bucks are now 16-12. It's the biggest turnaround because the Bucks have not had a point guard since Brandon Jennings on the team. Not a legit point guard, and he was borderline a legit point guard. He could light it up, but he wasn't like he was.
Yeah, he shot a lot.
He shot way too many times. So now they have a point guard that can play solid defense. They have a point guard that can slash, score on his own, and basically build this mini Bucks big three. So they now have Bledsoe, Middleton, who's a perfect 3-and-D player, who can sort of create. And then they have Giannis, who is just everything. But Bledsoe is second in steals in the league, 4th in points per game among point guards in the East. So I think he's deserving of it. I think he's deserving of a mention of an All-Star appearance.
I'm just surprised you put him on this list. He really hurt your feelings.
I had to look past it.
I mean, I like Bledsoe. I thought the trade was good. Definitely borderline for me. I think there's some really solid point guards in the East right now. But
I feel like a lot of those point guards would make the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Though. Like, everybody that you think of instantly would make it, except for Schroeder. Like, if you think of Lowry, Zen, John Wall, Kyrie, they're all in.
No, he's a good bubble pick.
I think Bledsoe's the bubble guard, because there aren't that many good guards.
Because, like you said, he really is turning around this Bucks team once they fire Jason Kidd fully.
They need to do that. That needs to happen.
And then I would be so set on Eric Bledsoe being... I think next year when he's on this team full-time, they get a full year of him, I think I'm ready for it.
I think so, too. And it'll be a contract year for him, too.
So he'll try.
He'll try. The Bucks will be desperate. They'll pay him a ton. Yeah.
How old is Bledsoe? Even just roughly.
27 or 28. He's getting older because the Suns really ruined a lot of his peak. But
there it is. The Suns were mentioned, I believe, 2 minutes into the Lucas list. I'm surprised it went that long.
He demanded a trade at a hair salon. Okay.
Well, he got traded while at the hair salon.
I don't know. He should not go to hair salons. No more going to hair salons. All right, number 4 is Ben Simmons. I really think, though, he's going to make it. Like, I think he's a bubble player, but if I had to vote, I would put him in because of, I think he has that notoriety. Like, him and Embiid are all over ESPN all the time because Simmons is the second coming of LeBron. And he's going to have those people voting for him in the All-Star game. But there are so many other players that are more deserving because Simmons doesn't win on his own.
No, that's
the biggest thing.
Huge black mark on him this year.
Has he won? I think he only has 2 wins, maybe without Embiid, maybe 2.
I'm not even sure if it's 2. I think it's 1.
I think he's like 1-9 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's something. Yeah, Embiid's been out like 9, 10 games maybe, and I think they've only won once without him. I think that's a huge black mark on his record. It's just not a good sign if he's a rookie. It's not like he's 26 or something.
And it also comes back to, I mean, is that a reflection on him?
Or the team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the team are a solid bunch of role players with Redick and Covington and, McConnell and all these people, but Embiid is the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak.
Yeah.
And Simmons, he's not an offensive powerhouse yet. Yeah. So when Embiid's not there, who picks up those 20 to 30 points every game? Not Simmons with his lack of jump shot.
Yeah,
he's no shot creator, and that's a huge deficit.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't even try to shoot. So they can just clog the lane when he drives in. Like, they're just gonna block him out.
It's like the Jordan rules. You Jordan rules Simmons, and it just works. You just let him drive to the center, and then 2 people just collapse on him. Foul him, he goes line. He's only like a 57% free throw shooter, so that's a win.
But he's a physical freak, and I would love to see him in the All-Star game.
He's killing
35
first years
games has been really good.
We're talking about him as a bubble
All-Star as a rookie 35 games into this career. It's pretty perfect. Number 3 is Victor Oladipo. Okay, hear me out. He's averaging... Hold on. So Paul George, he's averaging more points, assists, steals, blocks, threes on higher field goal percentage, 3-point percentage in less minutes than Paul George. From Paul George's last year in Indiana. He is better than Paul George.
That's astounding. You're not talking like plus minus. You're not talking any sort of advanced statistics that can kind of get skewed by who you're playing around and which lineups and all these various things. You're talking just like core basic statistics.
Basic stats. If you go to the game and you watch Oladipo, he's lighting it up better than Paul George on every level.
I can guarantee you both. I watched more Victor Oladipo last year than either of you because I'm a Thunder guy.
You're watching the Thunder more. Yeah, I would.
And if someone asked me to bet that Victor Oladipo would be on anyone's bubble all-star list last year, I'd have bet the house.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, and I always thought Oladipo could have been a good player, maybe not great, but those years of the Magic were so scary, being like, oh my god, this is the number 2 pick. He probably was arguably should have been the number 1 pick in that draft anyways.
He was phenomenal in college.
At the time, he should have been the number 1.
He should have been the number 1.
Yeah.
Looking back, maybe different.
Well,
But that Magic team was like, what are you doing with him? Then he goes to the Thunder, and it's like, all right, he could be really good with Westbrook. Like, he doesn't have that pressure of being the guy. And then he just kind of didn't do it. I honestly think playing with Westbrook taught him to be like, screw this, I'm taking over. I'm going to do it all. And then he goes to Indiana, and he's like...
He had that off-season transformation where he literally posted on his Instagram, like, this was me in OKC, and this was me in Indiana. And he's like, you know, he still got his, like, college body, kind of looks like, in OKC. And then you see the picture of him in Indiana. He's just, like, this ripped.
Pre-steroids, post-steroids.
Right.
We're not saying, but we're saying.
How do you get that ripped in 3 months?
him and Julius.
Julius, yeah, but Julius isn't... I'm sorry.
Well, no.
Julius
That's
didn't
because
take
we don't understand. Luke Walton hates him as a human being and as a player.
Oh, it's a hatred now.
But no, I'm saying is like in an off season, all of a sudden these players just become ripped. They're just in the gym. They're doing it every single day. I love it. I love Oladipo being a borderline all-star.
And this is what he's averaging: 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He's doing everything.
That's fierce. Even the advanced statistic people that we talked about last week that will really hype up a guard's blocks.
Right.
They're going to love him too.
They're going to love Oladipo.
I would honestly say if Oladipo wasn't in Indiana, if he was in like a major city,
Guaranteed all-star.
guaranteed all-star.
What if
If he was playing in MSG every night,
guaranteed
my
all-star.
goodness. What if you swapped Oladipo and Bradley Beal?
ooh,
I don't think
You wouldn't like
this
that?
podcast's natural enemy, Mr. Bradley Beal.
I think
No.
the Wizards would be so much better.
No, I just.
Oladipo
It's the
can
same
play
thing.
defense.
But it's the same thing of when he was on.
can shoot threes now.
When he's on, he can shoot them in Indiana.
Yeah, but that's like 4
This
a
is-
game. He's shooting like almost 40%. That's just good enough.
I just don't think it's one of these players like
That was elite like 5 years ago. It was like almost 40%. Now it's like if you're not 45% from 3.
I think
you're
it's one of those
garbage.
scenarios where you have him doing this in this scenario, and you just throw him.
They're
into,
better than the Wizards.
But doesn't
The Wizards are the 5th seed.
But you're taking Bradley
Indiana's the
Beal.
4th.
You're taking Bradley Beal and just switching Oladipo. Like Oladipo wouldn't be the man.
If
You'd have John
Bradley
Wall.
Beal was on Indiana, what would their seed be? No.
Oh, they'd be worse.
They'd be like out
But
of the playoffs.
the
Definitively worse.
Wizards probably would be even worse.
What? No.
I do agree with you. I think both teams get worse somehow. It seems impossible, but I think both teams
Because
get worse.
because Oladipo's doing this as his own team. Like this is him doing it. But in Washington, he would be John Wall's second. It's just the flow of the team. I think it.
It's kind of like El Senor Loco, Reggie Jackson, and he needed his own. He needed his own team. He needed to run his own show because he's too crazy to run with anyone else.
Oh gosh. Reggie Jackson.
Sorry, Reggie.
So number 2 is Andre Drummond. I think he's had the quietest, biggest leap of almost any player in the league. He was a black hole on defense last year. He was a black hole on offense. They wouldn't run plays for him. All of his points were off putbacks. Now, he's averaging 4 assists a game. That's almost 4 more than he averaged for his whole career. Like, he didn't assist at all. And now he's like prime Marc Gasol passing the ball, which is spooky. almost prime Joakim Noah passing the ball, which he was really good.
I thought you were going to say spooky again. Now I'm really disappointed.
But he's averaging 14 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. He's good on defense. He's great on offense, and he is the reason the Pistons are in the playoffs right now. Nice. I don't see the Pistons being where they are without Drummond's leap. Like, if Drummond was the same player from last year, like, Tobias Harris wasn't going to carry them to where they were now.
And Avery Bradley.
Okay, whatever. Drummond, Avery Bradley's help, but Drummond's leap has been amazing.
This year feels like a little bit of a resurgence of the big man in the NBA, and I think no one exemplifies that probably more than Drummond.
Right.
You know, in a league that's gotten so three-point happy, this year's been kind of fun to see Embiid and Drummond and others, you know, just really kind of take that mantle back just a little bit. It's still a three-point shooting league,
100%.
but it's fun to see big men kind of matter again.
He's super traditional too. He's not.
No, he's not
jump
Embiid.
shooter.
He's not jacking up threes.
He's not jacking up. He's posting up people. He's getting really dirty rebounds. He's doing all the dirty work. And I don't think he's going to make it because no one really thinks about the Pistons. A lot of the East especially is just a popularity. I mean, I guess it's all a popularity contest, but...
That's just life, Lucas.
I think
It's true.
I think what's going to hurt him the most is the fact they got rid of the center position in All-Star voting.
That's true. Now it's only forwards.
I had forgotten that, to be honest.
Because I was going to say, I was
don't
like
that.
Drummond's a shoo-in for center. Like, he's the best center. Got maybe next to
I wrote that too. I wrote Shewin.
Look at us doing the good work. But yeah, no, without the center position, Drummond's going to struggle to get in there. Like, I think he'll get in.
Do you think they'll reverse that ever? Bring the center position back? I mean,
think-
we have better centers now. When they took it out,
Because
the
of
center
Roy Hibbert
position
was
was
getting
going-
in with like
Yeah,
6
Roy
rebounds
Hibbert
and like 10 points.
it was so bad.
When he was supposed to be the next
Hoyas.
when he was supposed to be the next best center, and he was just awful.
Yeah, it was really rough. All right. Damian Lillard is number 1. He's been snubbed the past 3 seasons. He's complained about it. He's made rap songs about it. He statistically deserves it. His team is very good. So he has the stats. He's the number 1 option. His team's awesome. But there are so many players that deserve it over him. Curry, Harden, Westbrook, Durant, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Boogie, Draymond, Clay, Jimmy Butler, Kat, and LaMarcus Aldridge will all take votes away from Lillard. And then there are a ton of fringe players that have been playing great, like Jokic and his buddy CJ McCollum. And someone who's playing better than him, Booker. There's a lot of people that will take votes away from Lillard. He's also playing the worst ball he has played in 2 years, though. Shooting only 42% from the field, which is down 6%. And only 34% from 3, which is a career worst.
That's insane to think about because a couple of years ago that would have been still insane shooting.
It would have been in high school, yeah, in 2012, that would have been...
Acceptable.
It would have been
Insane,
acceptable.
maybe.
I think, like,
The way he's doing it, though, like, what is he averaging? Like 25?
he's averaging 25 points, 6 assists, and 5 boards.
It's like a late in his career Kobe stat line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lillard's 25.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't a compliment.
But and then
No, I don't
also,
I don't like to see guards shoot under 45%.
I think
in
that's
this modern association.
I don't think a guard should shoot under 45.
No.
And his true shooting is like 6% or 7%, like below the true shooting percentage, and you need a true shooting of like 52 or something like that. And he's just really gross at shooting right now.
He's finally having an off season. Don't worry, until this snub comes, then he'll start dropping 32 a game. And
I don't think he'll ever get the votes though. Like,
no, I think.
and then even CP3, who hasn't played like any games, will probably get more votes than him because people talk about him more.
In fairness, Cliff Paul might get more votes than him.
I'm sorry, Lillard. We all still love you, but go to the East and you'll be an All-Star.
That's true.
So true.
He would probably be the best point guard, second best point guard in the East.
All right, guys. The fourth quarter, where we pick some games coming up this week that we're ready to watch. Last week, Jason performed the perfect week. 5-0.
Wow.
Impressive
It's
stats.
very impressive.
The Stoltz Award.
The best part is I'm arguably the least knowledgeable one out of the three of us. So that just shows you, kids, don't learn things.
Don't give up on your dreams.
Dreams are where rabbits fly.
Speaking of dreams, I don't know. I'm going to gloss over that.
I want that on my tombstone.
This week's loser is Lucas, coming in with a 1-4 record, squeaking out the 0-5. I was so ready for you to lose the entire week, but
I wanted it so badly.
Houston.
I had already talked to my first and second favorite trophy makers just to create a trophy in your honor.
But
alas.
we're missing out. All right.
That would have been so bad.
Getting into this week's game, Wednesday. Cleveland versus Boston. In Boston. The BPI's got Boston favored 72%. Lucas, I'm going to start with you as the loser of the week. I want you to get off to a hot start.
Okay, well, I think it's going to be Boston. IT's not playing. Cavs are slumping. Jaylen Brown is back, and it seemed like they didn't even need him. So I'm going to pick Boston because they're going to be completely healthy. So I'm picking Boston.
Lucas going with a safe bet. He's not excited about this shot he has to take here. It's gonna be a rough one for him.
You just want me to taste the same pain you had last week.
It's a pain you'll never forget.
This is sounding odd.
Not that way.
Is this a shot?
Yeah, right? Oh, not getting better. Moving on. I'm really torn on this one, honestly, I am. If IT was back, you heard about my love for him in the second quarter, I would definitely be going Cavaliers. He's not playing in back-to-backs. He's not playing tomorrow. I'm going Celtics.
This makes it hard because I really want to make the podcast separate a little bit. Make some
Right, the people want intrigue.
Intrigue in here.
Do it, make it happen.
But boy, do I not want to take that shot again. I'm going to go easy this week. I'm going to go with the Celtics as well. Not interesting, but don't worry. We'll switch up. Maybe eventually. Because we're looking at Thursday night's game. When I picked these games, I thought James Harden was playing, so I was excited. This is the game, Harden versus Durant. Golden State versus Houston in Houston. Now, the BPI has them favored 52% with James Harden.
Oh. Is Chris Paul back?
Depends on the day.
Depends how he's feeling.
I mean, he should come back because they're going to start losing games.
I don't know, but that turtleneck is calling his name. He wants to put on the turtleneck and sit on the sideline.
Yeah, I thought you were going to wear a turtleneck this week.
Forgot about that.
Next week.
Yeah, I'll totally do it next week. Totally gonna happen. It's gonna be Golden State. Golden State's winning this game. I don't think any of us are gonna pick differently.
Golden State.
Golden State.
Yeah, this is pretty.
All right, now we're getting to the good games. Friday night, Toronto versus Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, Toronto's favored, 58%.
I feel like I know who you're picking.
I'm going to go against the norm.
But what? No. Well, I'm going to pick the Raptors because DeRozan is on absolute fire. Franchise record with 52 points.
Fact.
Last game.
It's about time.
Pretty freaking incredible. He had to beat out, the legendary Raptor Terrence Ross for that record, but,
He only beat him by one.
Terrence Ross was on fire. He made so many layups that game. It was insane.
You're making me think of... Oh my god. Corey Brewer?
Corey Brewer also scored 50 points.
In a game as a Timberwolf?
Yep. Yep, it was Kevin Love and Corey Brewer versus the world, and Corey Brewer dropped 50.
Is Corey Brewer the guy that I would affectionately refer to as Corey Crazy Eyes Brewer? Or am I thinking of another dude?
He's on the Lakers right now.
Does he have some crazy eyes?
He's I'll just call him the layup king. I don't know.
I've never looked that deeply into his eyes.
All right, I've got to be picturing someone else then.
Jason.
I'm taking Giannis. Come on, I'm taking Giannis.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that. He's joining Team Nick. I mean, look at the man. He's a freak from Greece. I love him. They play. Didn't they just? They just played in Toronto, and there's a bunch of Greek fans in the crowd before the game started. So when we walked into the arena, and they're all serenading him. I just love the man.
Didn't he lose?
In Toronto, we're going to home court advantage.
All right.
Eric Bledsoe, borderline all-star, is going to carry them.
Yeah, but then you have two absolute all-stars.
Kyle Lowry, absolute.
Ooh, yeah.
Kyle Lowry, I don't know. I'd probably put Kyle Lowry.
See last week's podcast, Lucas.
I don't know.
We don't think that highly
I don't know.
of Kyle Lowry.
DeRozan.
DeRozan, yeah. He's there.
Yeah. DeRozan's...
But my man Giannis is there, too. He's been hot all year. Taking the Bucks. Lucas is sitting on an island alone.
Again.
Yet again.
Last year. last week.
All right, Saturday night's game. Everyone's been raving about this game all year long. It's the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Minnesota
We've all been thinking about it.
Everyone marked it down on their calendars. They're ready for this game. Now, Minnesota's favored 62%. How do you guys feel about this game?
Minnesota's home?
Minnesota is at home.
I think it's a pick'em type game, honestly. I think 62% is crazy, and just showing the BPI home bias.
At this rate, it must have the most... I would love to see how it's calculated. I literally think it must give like a 10% boost to like the home team. At this rate, like...
You have some quality teams that are like barely favored.
Yeah.
Man, this is a hard one, though, honestly. I'm taking the Pelicans.
Pelicans.
I think I want to take the Pelicans, too. I think Boogie and Anthony Davis are going to manhandle Cat.
Son of a biscuit-eating bulldog. Can I change my pick now that Lucas joined in?
This is the problem here. You know what? My Timber puppies, they're gonna take me there. They're gonna take me to the promised land. I'm gonna go to Timberwolves just to differentiate this podcast a little bit. And Cat and his video game playing ways, I relate to the young man. I love him. All right, now this game, Sunday night, two teams, different conferences, one on a win streak, one's on a lose streak. The New York Knickerbockers versus the mighty Dallas Mavericks.
The fact that they've won 4 straight is really mind-blowing, honestly.
All those losing teams are now like winning. Like you have the Bulls,
Right.
Mavs, Suns are 3-game winning streak right now.
It's kind of what's fun about the NBA, right? Like, you don't see it as much in other sports where you'll just have teams that look phenomenal all of a sudden drop 3-4 in a row, and teams that start out, like 3-20 Bulls, roughly, put together huge win streaks. It's just, it's really a fun part of the association. You kind of never know what you're going to get. You get these mini runs throughout the season.
The mini runs that can actually change the entire standings too.
Fair, yeah.
You get those teams right at the end where it's like, we need to go from the 10th seed to the 8th seed, and we're going to be in the playoffs. And they'll win, 6 straight.
There's so much parity right now because of teams like this. The number 1 pick in the draft compared to the number 10 pick in the draft is only separated by 3.5 wins right now. I can't remember that happening in so long. And it's the same way going up. Like, the East right now... The last team in the East only has 15 wins or something. They're 2 under 500. and then the 10th seed is like 1 game behind. It's so close throughout. There's so much parity, and it's actually a ton of fun. There isn't like a lot of like, oh, this team totally sucks. Like, you're just gonna sweep them.
No, you've got 4 or 5 teams between the two conferences that are obviously like the cream of the crop.
Right.
And then like you said, especially in the East, there's 1-2 losses between like the 5th, I think, and like 10th seed. It's incredible.
There's only one there's one obviously bad team in the East, and that's the Hawks. But other than that, like, every single one of those teams will like fight. I mean, like the the Magic have fallen off, but even them, they can steal a win, which is really frustrating for a team that thinks they can just sweep them.
If I may circle us back, I'll take the Knicks.
Ooh.
Not a lot of reason behind it, but hell, I went 5-0 last week. I don't need reason.
I like the reasoning there.
I won.
I won. Done.
I want to pick the Knicks too, because I think Porzingis is probably better than the whole Mavericks team. So I'm gonna pick Porzingis versus the Mavs.
I want to say one name only. JJ freaking Barea.